anxiety. The second point was maybe on the next slide at the bottom. It's easy to update applications, but we haven't done that. Do one more slide. I don't know. I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was on the bottom right, and it said it's easier to update. Yeah, easier to be pushed, but it hasn't been done, or we haven't done it.
No, on mainnet. I should have explained. It hasn't been done on mainnet yet. I mean, the fact that again, testnet is very similar to mainnet. That's okay, but I don't think there's any applications today on mainnet. Everybody's just waiting until all these issues are actually resolved. Mainnet launched in June, early June, June 2nd, I think, and there's been voting, and then there's been stabilization, and then there's been RAM issues, and then there's been constitution issues, and today, I would not launch our application on mainnet until I know for a fact that, okay, now this is stable. So again, I give it a couple more months, but the fact that it's totally, I've updated, or not me, I've seen somebody update the smart contract by just running a command line into a smart contract on the jungle net, and just work very easily, very quickly. So it helps with increasing, with just updating code very easily. Thanks.
Can you discuss some of the challenges of migrating an Ethereum dApp to EOS, if that's possible?
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, as long as you have your business logic outlined, all you need to do is figure out what is the functionality that you want to put, that you already have in your contract, move it all forward to a contract in a different language. So it's pretty much porting code to another language. The other concern is you need to onboard on EOS itself. You get out of the mentality that you pay or you pay gas for all the transactions that are happening. It might actually kind of skew your thought process. I guess the easiest way is to just take a step back, get your business logic understood, and then just port it over. You have to write everything from scratch, and not you can just use the same contracts that you have today. There is a few design patterns on the front end that you might actually have to modify as well if you have a web dApp or mobile dApp.
So we'll take maybe one or two more questions.
Thanks. So the first question, you mentioned constitutional changes a couple of times, and I've heard conversations about RAM and block producers. Can you just give a couple of what constitutional changes you're talking about?
It's more stuff related to governance. I mean, I don't know exact details, but the constitution that launched said, okay, every person will have 30 votes, and they can vote a block producer into the network, and they can remove their vote by unstaking and then removing a block producer. The main I'm not very familiar with the actual changes, but the name constitution is kind of make people think that, oh, there's a major change coming, but it's basically just the law and the code in a sense.
Okay, thanks. And the second one is sort of a little bit philosophical. So when we look at transactions per second and scalability, I work with a company where we built an original application. We needed a private permission chain because we're looking at corporations. So we built a private permission network on Ethereum. We then migrated over to Hyperledger Fabric. Enterprise Ethereum is coming out, etc. And I'm not sure if you're following the work that Gavin was doing with Polkadot and sort of trying to link all these disparate chains. The question is, your thoughts with EOS regarding spinning up sort of your own chain on that. Is that something which companies or you've thought about doing, and pros and cons on that?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talks about side chains in EOS, but I have not thought much about it. I know there are a lot of people thinking of it right now. I'm pretty sure Dan mentioned it last week as well. But as a way to fix the problem, but it actually kind of introduced a few problems in its own by forking the actual chain and doing more blockchains, which might be a little bit confusing and not what EOS needed to be. But again, I'm not 100% sure.
I have two questions. The first one is around privacy. Is there a roadmap around introducing zero-knowledge proofs, any form of cryptography that would obfuscate transactions? Is there anything like that existing currently, and is that on the roadmap?
I'm not sure if that's on the roadmap, but one of the things that EOS actually plans to be is like an open ledger, not like a closed network. What you can do is you can still do some transactions between users, but you can encrypt the data that is actually being transmitted from one place to another or into your smart contract. It kind of a way like to hide certain information just to ensure your privacy. We actually do this as well. But like in order to see the full transparency of all the transactions that are happening, everything is visible.
And the second question is around zero fees. I'm trying to understand that because you talk about having to stake RAM. So is it that there's no fees for the users of your token, your contract, but you're essentially covering those? And does that RAM run out based on the quantity of transactions, or is it just if I have X amount, then I can run X transactions for an infinite amount of time? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so with EOS, you can, in addition to buy RAM, you can also get bandwidth into the network. So this is like basically what the number of transactions that you can get. But with RAM, it's more about storage and how much you're deciding to store on the chain. I have another part of the question.
It was just about, is it dwindling? Does it get used up, or is it just the quantity?
Yeah, it's based on how much you use. If you decide to like not use all of it, you can just like remove it and get back your money. So the zero cost is basically the fact that you already paid for it.